I am Rob from iTech Pickers. It's time for the coronavirus update. We are Sunday night. Now, uh, they have updated the numbers of the number of cases. Of course, the numbers provided by the regime. Now it's at 16,787 confirmed cases of the coronavirus, most of them in China. Of course, there's a list of other countries that have been infected too, like Japan, Thailand. It's it's spreading to other countries, but the numbers are still limited. They've added about 60 deaths, 60 more people dead in their numbers. 472 recovered. No, I need to explain something to you that they're not explaining to you in the media. Is the time lag. There's a time lag in the number of confirmed cases because this virus has what they call an incubation time, which is about zero. It's about from 1 to 14 days, so an average of 7 days. And that's the time a person is infected but does not have any symptoms. And they have the virus but they don't have symptoms. They don't have fever, they don't cough, nothing. And they are infectious. They can infect other people during that time. So these people they cannot be screened. If you take their temperature, the temperature is okay, but they are infectious. They can give the disease to other people. So that time is the average incubation time for this virus is 7 days before the symptoms start to appear. And furthermore, what's happening is that people wait until they have symptoms to get checked, and once they are checked, then they become a confirmed case. So there's a lag time of 7 days. So those cases that have been confirmed, these people were already sick for an average of 7 days. So there's a time like there, and what I've heard from people that are in Wuhan is that there are no more testing. They don't have the testing kits anymore in the hospitals. They're lacking everything, so they can't confirm new cases because they don't have the kits to confirm them. So it seems that this is what's happening. People they have symptoms and they go to one hospital, then they go to another hospital, and they have to move around like that because all of the hospitals there don't have testing kits, so they basically have to wait. And these cases they are not being confirmed because of that. And it's funny that there are, on the Chinese media, the Chinese propaganda media, they show that they have built an hospital from nothing in 10 days to supposedly treat all these people, and they're just so proud of saying that they have built this hospital. But there's nothing to be proud about because they don't have the equipment to cure people anymore. They're lacking in everything. They don't have testing kits. So what good is the hospital if they don't have the material to cure people or to take care of people? So this is just so typical of communism, you know. So this is what it is right now. So you can expect that there are way more confirmed cases of the coronavirus, but we have no way of knowing what's happening exactly. And all of the journalists in China that have been talking too much have been arrested. They have arrested a bunch of people right now. So the information we're being given, it's pretty much all of it has to go through the Communist Party of China. So, I mean, this is bad, and this, this censoring of information, it's actually the very reason why there is that epidemic right now, because we have evidence that journalists in China have been they have covered this at the very beginning of January, and they got arrested for talking about this. The wet market where the virus supposedly comes from. There were journalists at the beginning of the month who were talking about it, and they got arrested. And why this has taken these epidemic proportions? It's because the information was suppressed, and it's still being suppressed as I speak. Have you noticed that there are no foreign correspondents, talking about the case from Shanghai or Beijing? No, they have quarantine most cities. Most cities are on a lockdown right now. But at the same time, they've also expelled the international community. So there's no one there to report on what's really happening. And the Chinese people who are reporting and talking too much, well, they get arrested. And the Chinese regime has put warnings on sites like WeChat or on the internet, saying if you spread misinformation about the coronavirus, you are going to be arrested. You're gonna get jail time. And what they mean by misinformation is basically just saying the truth about it. If your truth is not the same as the truth that the regime is trying to give, the rest of the international community. So we're not seeing an end to that anytime soon. This is just gonna get worse. So you have a time lapse in the total confirmed cases up here of about 7 days, but you also have a big time lapse in the total number of deaths here. And the reason for that is that supposedly when you have the coronavirus, once you have the first symptoms, you are sick for between 7 and 14 days before you die, if you are going to die. So if you take the incubation period of 7 days and at least 7 days that you are sick until you die, that's 14 days. So those people who are dying right now, these people have been infected 14 days ago. And if you remember, 14 days ago, there wasn't much going on. I think they were talking about like 400 and 500 cases. So this number, is it a dead toll of 362 people out of a total of confirmed cases of 500 people? That, or the real number, is it, if you have 472 people who don't die and recover, and you have a total number of 362 people who die. So that gives a mortality rate of about 40%. That's very different from the mortality rate of 2 or 3% that the mainstream media portrays. So it's the mortality rate is very high if these numbers are the big picture. So this is extremely concerning. And for example, if you look at the Spanish flu of 1918, the mortality rate was about 15%. So we have a mortality rate that could possibly be twice the mortality rate of the Spanish flu. And so that's extremely concerning. And the contagion rate is also very high. It's most experts are now saying it's the RO, the rate of contagion is about 3.5, and the one from the Spanish flu was 1.5. So the contagion rate of this virus is twice what the rate was with the Spanish flu. So twice the contagion rate, and twice the mortality rate. That's a very nasty virus. And here's another very concerning news, and this is from Taiwan News. In Taiwan, I would trust the news in Taiwan to bring about the real facts about what's happening in China, because they are a free country, but they're very close to China, and they're very similar, and they speak the same language. They speak the same language as in mainland China, except that they don't have the same government. So I would really trust them to be very truthful about what's happening, probably more than my country or the United States, because Canada, the United States, the UK, Australia, they're not very knowledgeable about China because they don't speak the language. So the information they get is always like translated. Whereas Taiwan, they speak the same language as in mainland China, so they have it's more easy for them to get the real stories. So coronavirus could be transmitted through feces. Okay, so that's very scary, because that would mean that you can just go to a public toilet and you can get the disease. You can get the disease from someone else. If you think about the toilet in the plane, if you have one infected person and a person is infected but has no symptoms, but they can transmit the disease, they will go to the toilet, and then you go to the toilet, you sit on the toilet, and possibly you can get the disease from the toilet. So this is yet again another very scary fact in that virus. So I think it's important to know that it can possibly be spread by feces. So public toilets, go to the same toilet as a person that's infected, then you get the disease. And finally, the news. Well, you have coronavirus, China to pump billions into economy amid growth fears. So basically, that's quantitative easing by China, because they're gonna have a big blow to their economy from what's happening. So what they're gonna do is that they're gonna print money, right? Uh, so I told you that the safest place to be is in gold and silver, because governments can print money, but they can't print gold and they can't print silver. So when the more money that is being printed by governments, then the more the price of gold and silver goes up. So if I were a Chinese guy right now, I would not want my money to be in cash. I would want my money to be in gold, because they're just gonna print more of it. And it's about, I would say, like 45 minutes to the open of the Shanghai Composite, the Shanghai stock market. It's going to be very bad when it opens. So China is gonna pump billions into the economy. They're gonna print money to they're not gonna solve anything, but that's what they plan on doing. And finally, here, China's gonna move to limit short selling. So now, basically, they know that the Shanghai stock market is gonna crash. So they're gonna limit people from taking short positions into the market. So they're gonna intervene and control the markets. They control the information, right? Because China has figured out that if they don't report on something, then it's not happening, right? So they have complete control of the numbers for now. They don't have control of the people dying and the virus spreading, obviously. But they are going to control the stock market by limiting short selling and just basically just print more money to pretend that there's no shortage of money. So it's more of the same communist regime. So look, guys, please stay safe. Obviously, this is not gonna stop anytime soon. We're looking at very tough times ahead, and for the young people, I would like to recommend you should watch. I have seen a great documentary on the Spanish flu of 1918, and I must say that I cried. At some point I broke up and I started crying, because what we are gonna see in the coming days, the coming weeks, it's horrible. And so if the young people, if you want to understand why it's going to get very bad, and why these things are a catastrophe now for China, but this is gonna spread to the rest of the planet. I would suggest you watch this documentary, because I know that most young people nowadays, they have pretty much no idea what the Spanish flu was. I remember that one of the few things that my grandfather talked to me about was is him being a witness of the Spanish flu when he was 10 years old. So for old people that were alive at that time, it's probably the most significant thing they've witnessed in their lifetime. So I would greatly recommend that you watch this documentary, and it's gonna change your perspective on what's happening right now. So I'm Rob for High Tech Pickers. I'll come back tomorrow or maybe in 2 days for an update. Stay safe.